Hey everyone, Jimmy from Blue Line with another Did You Know safety tip. I'm driving down the road a few minutes ago and I look over and there's this brand new Escalade, and I look inside and there's this kid. He's bouncing around, leaning over his dad's shoulder in the front seat and trying to grab something out of his hand. How in the world in 2025 can people be driving around without their kids being seatbelted? So here's your Did You Know fact. Did you know that in the United States, the leading cause of death between the ages of 0 and 18 is traffic crashes? We have roughly 3,200 deaths a year. 64% are for people who were unrestrained in vehicles. I was a traffic homicide investigator as a police officer. Very, very early in my career, I went on my first scene, which ironically ended up being my worst scene that I had ever been on. We were assisting the Florida Highway Patrol with a bad crash that had happened on our Florida Turnpike. A guy was drunk. He was at a rest area. He left the rest area and started heading northbound in the southbound lanes. At the same time, a Latino family from Orlando was heading southbound on the turnpike. Sadly, the two cars collided. Now, both cars were probably doing anywhere between 70 or 80 miles an hour. When they collided, they had a combined speed between anywhere between 140 and 160 miles an hour. The Latino family in that car consisted of 6 people. In the front seat was a mother holding her toddler. When this collision occurred, nobody in the car had their seatbelt on, and all of them continued to move at approximately 150 miles an hour forward. We found that child down the road, probably 50, 60 yards away. He never had a chance, nor did anybody else in that car. All 6 of them died, along with the driver of the pickup truck. If you think you are in control in your vehicle at all times, you are sadly mistaken. When you're driving and you get into a traffic crash, you are no longer in the driver's seat. Sir Isaac Newton is in that seat, and all the laws of physics will apply. For example, anything that is not restrained, bolted down, or secured inside your vehicle at 80 miles an hour will continue to move at 80 miles an hour when you come to an abrupt stop. So how can I help you? 1, if you don't have a car seat for your child, okay, or a booster seat for your child, and just so you know, kids should be restrained in a booster seat at least until they're 80 pounds. Many law enforcement agencies have free car seat programs. I started one for my city. I can't even tell you how many countless people we gave car seats out to. It was even more than that, though. We gave an education as to how you put your car seat in, because most are not put in correctly. If you have a child that's older and is not in a car seat, but they just have a hard time keeping their seatbelt on because they're misbehaved, here's a little tip for you. Sometimes you got to lie to your kids. Fortunately for me and my wife, I never really had an issue getting my kids to buckle up. But it was always their friends that we were concerned with, because I don't know what habits or bad habits they had. So I would tell them that the car does not start until they have their seatbelts on. If that doesn't work and you can't get them to wear their seatbelt, tell them this. Tell them that you went to the police department and that the police department installed something on your car and that the car won't start unless the seatbelt is fastened. Trust me, if they're trying to get to McDonald's, they will put their seatbelt on. If you're driving down the road and they take their seatbelt off, pull the car over to a parking lot and say, the car doesn't work anymore because you took your seatbelt off. We can't get where we're going until you put it back on. After 3 or 4 times of that happening, that kid will always have its seatbelt on no matter where you're going. Teenagers. Now, from that stat of the 0 to 18, it's that 13, 14 to actually 19-year-old that statistic is the highest. I know that when your kid is learning to drive and you've got them in the car, they're doing everything by the book, because Lord knows they want that driver's license and they want to get out and start driving on their own. They want that freedom. Here's the reality check. When those kids get into the car with their friends, everything you taught them will go straight out the window, okay? They just happen to lose their brain when they get into a car with their friends. You can threaten your kids with statistical data and tell them that they're going to get hurt or killed. Wake up call for you. Teenagers number 1, do not understand the finality of death. Number 2, they think they're invincible. I know I did. I know you did. You think nothing is going to happen to you when you were 18 years old. So here's a very, very effective way to get your kid to wear his or her seatbelt at all times. And more importantly, make sure everybody else in the car with him or her puts their seatbelt on. In Florida, under the 316 statute, you can look it up. I guarantee you have a similar statute, whatever state that you're in. If someone is in your car under the age of 18 and does not have their seatbelt on, guess who gets the ticket? The driver. So, if your kid's driving around without his seatbelt on and he's got his 3 friends in the car that don't have their seatbelts on, that's 12 points on their driver's license. And trust me, there will be no verbal warnings. Look your local law up, take a screenshot, text it to them, and say, every time you get in the car and you're about to drive, please read this. If you do that, I guarantee you will train the complacency out of them. Hard to believe that we actually have to give this safety tip. But again, in 2024, that leading cause of death statistic continued on. I don't see it changing in 2025. So obviously, education still needs to be given. So here's your Blue Line Did You Know safety tip. Buckle up. Until next time, be safe. God bless.